Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how I set up my bullet journal for 2021. This year I am using the Scribbles That Matter journal. It's the same one that I tried out last year and I really liked it, so I'm going to be using it again. It has 153 pages that are very thick, they don't bleed, and this year I got the color charcoal. I thought that this was such a beautiful color. My husband even joked that it could be a journal for him, so if you're looking for a good present for guys, this one might be it. I really like how it's sleek and chic, and really you just can't go wrong with gray. This is especially perfect because I'm going to be taking a more minimalist approach to my bullet journal this year. I think I'm going to be focusing less on illustration and on lots of extra pages. Last year I ran out of space in my journal around November, and this year I really want to try to fit all of my monthly and weekly layouts in this journal for the whole year. So I'm going to be cutting out a few things like favorites pages or even like those full-on title spreads for each month. So if you're looking for a very simple, minimal approach without all of those extras, then this might be the perfect setup for you. This particular journal comes with a couple of pre-made pages in the front, like a key and an index, so I just flipped to the first empty spread, and I'm going to be starting off with a cover page for the entire book just to get us off to a nice pretty start here. I'm going to do this idea of like 2021 at a glance, and it's obviously going to be pretty empty right now. I'm leaving space all around this little header image that I'm drawing here, and the idea is that I want to fill it in at the end of the year with like a hand-lettered word cloud kind of thing like the ones up on the screen here, and just putting together a whole bunch of words that describe the year. I think it'll be a nice way to summarize, and in future years when I look back, it really will be just 2021 at a glance. I just dressed up my letters here a little bit by creating some thicker strokes and also adding in some serifs and some details with a white gel pen. In previous years, I usually have a spread that's like a yearly overview calendar, but honestly, I never end up using that, so I'm completely skipping that this year, saving the pages for other things. But if that's something that you think you'd like to have, this might be a good spot for it. Instead, I'm going to flip to the back of my book right now, and again, there's a couple of pages that are already built in for you there, so you can go ahead and use those for whatever you like. And I'm going to flip to the first empty spread on the back, and I'm going to get started with some yearly trackers that I want to include. And the reason I'm putting them in the back of the book is so that throughout the year, if I decide I want to add a couple of pages, I can do so that I can create this continuous system starting from the back, and that way these pages don't interrupt my weekly or monthly spreads. This is something that I did last year, and I really like how it was organized. It was really easy for me to flip through to different months and not have to search throughout my journal for all of these different spreads, so I just like keeping them all together in the back like this. And throughout the year I did end up adding more spreads too, so it was really nice just to have a dedicated space for them. The first page I'm including in this back area is my book tracker. Like I mentioned before, I'm sticking to a simpler kind of look for this year, so instead of doing like an illustrated bookshelf like I have done in past years, I decided to do this old school library checkout card. I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day in library books they had this little pocket in the back, and there would be this little card that you would write your name and the date that you checked it out and all that stuff. So I wanted it to kind of look like that, and I created different sections for the date finished, title, author, and my rating, and I think it turned out pretty cute. On the other side of this page I'm going to be doing a TV shows and movies tracker because as the year starts off, I'm sure we're all still going to be on lockdown a little bit, and I've been binging TV shows and movies and Netflix and all that, so I kind of want to just have a place to write down all the things that I'm watching at the moment. The next couple of spreads are going to be for my Instaxes of the month. This is something that I started last year, and it really was my favorite thing that I included in my journal last year, so I definitely want to do it again this year. And for these spreads, I'm going to be taking an Instax mini every month and including it in my journal. It's so much fun to look back on last year and see all the snapshots that I took, so I'm really excited to do this again. If you don't have like an Instax or Polaroid or anything, you can totally just print out your photos as normal too, but an Instax mini is pretty cute, so if you're looking for a good Christmas present, you can ask for that. I stuck to a pretty simple illustrated cover page for these spreads, and I decorated a little bit with a bit of washi tape, and I also created some drop shadows using a gray marker. For most of these pages, I'm trying to stick to this gray color scheme, but I did throw in this little pop of a purple marker here just to add a little bit of a light color that's still subtle. These will be all filled in by the end of the year, but I actually really like the way these look even when they're empty. With that little bit of washi tape embellishment and lettering the months inside the boxes, it's still really nice to look at now. For the next spread, I'm doing my 27 things while 27 spread, which is something I do every year. I just base it on whatever age I am that year, and I create a list going down summarizing the year. On the other side of the page, I'm doing kind of like a finances chart. I'm doing an income and expenses just for like my business stuff. And on the other side of that, since I'm kind of becoming an adult now, I have a little chart to pay off my mortgage. For all of these headers, I'm doing the tiniest little lined drop shadow using a very thin fine liner. It's a very small touch that I think adds a lot, and little things like this are especially important when you're not doing a lot of illustration. So that is pretty much all the spreads that I'm starting my bullet journal off with this year. I'm foregoing some of the spreads I usually go for, most notably my travel tracker, because if there's anything that 2020 taught us, it's that nothing can be set in stone. And later on, if I want to add those pages, I certainly can. I just don't want to have an empty spread at the end of the year like I did last year. I hope you guys enjoyed this simple approach to my bullet journal. I hope that it gave you guys some inspiration, and let me know if you are also doing a more minimal approach or if you are going to go all out and really embrace the creativity that you can have with bullet journaling. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a really good start to 2021, and I'll see you again next time.